So, The Mandalorian and Grogu was directed by Jon Favreau, and it was co-written by him and Dave Filoni. It stars Pedro Pascal, once again returning as Din Djarin, also known as The Mandalorian. Also features Sigourney Weaver and Jeremy Allen White. In this movie, Din Djarin, also known as The Mandalorian, he and his adopted son slash protege Grogu are tasked with a brand new mission, and they go on it, and we have a brand new movie in the Star Wars universe. So this was a movie that I was not really looking forward to. The Disney Star Wars era has just not left me satisfied, if I'm being honest. Not to a crazy extent, but that's beside the point. But also when it comes to The Mandalorian, I watched the first two seasons when they aired. I thought they were solid, but not great. Then the third season, I kind of forgot about. I didn't realize it was airing, and then when this movie was coming out, I was like, oh, I should probably rewatch it. And the third season is not the best. I think it's a little uneven, and also I think it gets better as the show goes on. Like by the end, it's like, okay, that was fine. So as far as this movie goes, yeah, I think this movie is basically like a condensed season of Mandalorian. The way it feels and the plot setup, it kind of feels like a season of Mandalorian. And I guess that's kind of what their initial plan was. Like, oh, we could have done this as a fourth season, but why don't we make it as a movie instead? Okay, they don't really do much with it to make it feel like a movie, but let's just dive into it. As far as I'm concerned, the things that stand out in this movie, mainly Din Djarin and Grogu, still are really good together as their dynamic duo. I thought like they carry the entire movie for the most part. There are scenes with Grogu that are really good. Some moments with Din Djarin I thought were pretty good. As far as the acting goes, Pedro Pascal, good, but I also kind of feel like he wasn't really on set very much. Jeremy Allen White, he actually surprised me as the voice of one of the Hutts in this movie. When you kind of see like what his deal is, it's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. You're kind of humanizing the Hutts a little bit. It's like, that's kind of cool. Also, I will say there are some fun sequences in this movie. Like, a lot of the action scenes are pretty fun. There's one basically before the opening credits. Also, it's kind of weird just seeing the opening credits of this movie. Usually they're at the very end of a Star Wars movie, but that's beside the point. But the opening scene is pretty cool. The final fight is pretty cool. There's another fight between the Hutts and the Hutt voiced by Jeremy Allen White, and also another CGI character that's admittedly kind of fun, but also kind of reminded me of Thor Ragnarok a little bit. Also, I will say that the movie is really strong in its first act and its third act. The first act has a lot of setup, but there are some really good things, particularly Jeremy Allen White. The third act is mostly fun, but there's also kind of a bit of a subplot in this movie that I thought was actually pretty interesting to see how it involves Grogu, which I won't spoil, but the fact of seeing is like, okay, this is actually kind of a cool turn for this character. Let's see where this goes. And it's fine. It was cool to see, but I felt like in the first and third, that's when the movie was actually really good. Also, I love seeing practical effects in the Star Wars universe again. The movie has a mixture of both, and I think the practical effects look a little bit better than the CGI effects, which I'll talk about a little bit. And also, Ludwig Göransson's score. Ludwig Göransson, he does a lot of scores for movies. I believe he did the score for Sinners last year, so I thought his music was pretty good. At first, it was kind of jarring at first because, like, this doesn't sound like music for a Star Wars movie, but considering the tone of this movie, I guess I'm okay with it. It still sounds really good. But let's talk about some things I don't like. Now, I said the first act and the third act are really good. The second act is slow, and I felt like it just brought the whole movie down. It's not until a specific point, basically at the beginning of the third act, it's like, okay, that's where the movie kind of changes for me a little bit, and I'm actually kind of getting invested in the movie again. But yeah, you just have to sit through a lot in the second act. That's just not as strong. Also, the movie does rely on Grogu too much. Like, the fact that they just kind of cut to Grogu just doing cute things. It's like, yeah, it's cute, but it's just more of a distraction from the fact that there are just, gaps in the story. And it just felt like they relied on Grogu like a crutch in this movie. And it was just kind of annoying after a while. It's like you could take a shot every time Grogu does something cute and they just cut to him doing something cute. The pacing of this movie, again, is a little bit off because, again, that second act just bogs down the first act of this movie and the third act. It just brings it down a whole bit. And I will say, also, the CGI effects are not as strong as the practical effects. The Hutts look pretty cool, I guess, but I kind of wish that was more practical. Also, Sigourney Weaver. She had no reason to be in this movie whatsoever. Like, honestly, I felt like it was a paycheck gig for her, and you could replace her character with any actor in this movie, and it would have not changed a single thing. Also, I will say this. This movie feels like it was kind of made for TV. Like, there are definitely moments in this movie where I'm watching it, is like, I feel like this is just kind of a TV show. The fact that, like, it also opens with the same type of title card as The Mandalorian, but they just add and Grogu to it, didn't get me excited. Also, like, some of the editing choices in this movie are kind of odd. Like, at one point, they just cut to black at one point after what could be a cliffhanger for a TV episode of this for The Mandalorian. And it definitely felt like they wanted this to be a TV show instead of a movie. And I just felt like there was no reason for it to be a movie other than, I don't know, maybe slightly larger scales and a slightly bigger cast than what they normally have. Also, I kind of felt like it was a little upsetting that they don't even mention Carl Weathers' character at one point in this new movie. Because, like, obviously Carl Weathers has since passed away, but I figured they would at least mention something about it, considering he was a huge part of the TV show. But no, you could argue, oh, pretty much everything from the TV show doesn't matter anymore, but you could still at least have something in there, and I felt like they didn't. So overall, The Mandalorian Grogu, I will say it's okay. Like, it's not bad by any means. It's not like, I don't know. I think if you love the TV show, you're probably going to love this movie. But for me, who's kind of like a mixed fan overall, again, I thought the first two seasons were fine, and the third season was okay in the end. But I will say Pedro and Pascal, Jeremy Allen White, they're the standouts of this movie. Grogu, cute, but they rely on him too much. There are fun sequences in the first and third acts, and I do feel like the practical effects are really good. Ludwig Göransson's score is really good. But I just felt like the second act just dragged the whole movie down. The pacing's off. Some people are wasted in this movie. Didn't care for the CGI effects as much as I like the practical effects. And again, sometimes it just feels like there is no scale for this movie. And I just felt like it could have just been a season of The Mandalorian. And you can tell at times that they're like, yeah, this should have been a TV series, or at least a season of the show, rather than a movie. So I will give The Mandalorian and Grogu 2 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, given how controversial Disney Star Wars is, I'm probably not going to ask a question about Star Wars, so, I don't know. What did you think of The Mandalorian and Grogu, and what's your favorite season of the show? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat. Stay safe.